Now, if you go 8 miles north of the Obama Presidential Center, oh, look at this building, the Trump International Hotel and Tower, glimmering in the sunlight like, oh, a beautiful beacon of freedom wrapped in windows. Now, this tiered 98-floor skyscraper stands out among the giants in Chicago's skyline. And get this, the cost to build Chicago's Trump Tower, roughly the same as the nearly windowless North Korea-styled structure, that houses the Obama Presidential Center. But the worst part about this monument to Obama, now, how is it spread the wealth around? Contractors allegedly now struggling to get paid, with many now facing financial ruin. Take a look.
To know why they're not getting paid. In what sense is celebrating Juneteenth if our black contractors are not getting their money? So many of our black contractors are complaining about they have not got their money. But the other side of it, a lot of the black community and the newspapers do not know that these people have not been paid.
It's in my opinion that there's been mismanagement here that's been saddled to the subcontractors, and we've all had to absorb them, and I just feel that that's not right. I am still not 100% sure why we have not been paid our extras, or to use the parlance here, change order money.
To quote Obama, you didn't build that, but you better pay the people who did. Tens of millions of dollars in the bank, hundreds of millions raised for the center. I don't see any excuse, but today, while these blue-collar workers are struggling to stay afloat, one plumber, $4 million he says he is owed. Well, Obama, his famous friends, they had a lavish party, opening the doors to the center while honoring Barack Hussein, Obama's favorite person, Barack Obama. In fact, Obama was visibly moved to tears while listening to speakers praise his most heroic time in office. But of course, not every American and everyone in attendance was moved. Looks like former President Bill Clinton appeared to fall asleep. Meanwhile, if Joe Biden was aware of his surroundings, he was probably not too happy to be there after, of course, it was Obama that orchestrated the end of Joe's reelection campaign. But let not your heart be troubled. If you missed today's Obama Fest, here's how it all got started, with a mandatory land acknowledgement, since, according to Democrats, we are all living on stolen land. Take a look.
We'd also like to take a moment to recognize the original inhabitants of the land upon which we are gathered today. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
I'm not sure what that means. Do they say the land is on stolen property? If so, why do they steal it? Unfortunately, today's dedication, one small part of a media blitz from both Barack and Michelle Obama. Now, the self-described coach of the Democratic Party is refusing to retire gracefully and still yearns for the spotlight. And like always, Obama, he's fighting imaginary villains while, as per usual, lecturing you, the American people. Take a look.
On the right, and you see this in the Trump administration, this idea that any suggestion or criticism that America was anything other than perfect is unpatriotic.
Is a suggestion that you hate your country.
Is a suggestion that you hate your country. Now, the flip side is, among progressives, sometimes there is this sense of, well, the only true narrative of America is this one of oppression and exclusion. And I reject both those views. I think it's complicated.
Of course, he knows everything. Now, former First Lady, they go low, we go high. Michelle Obama also on a media tour. And I know this may come as a shock to many of you, but the former First Lady, she's looking out for number one. Take a look.
One word to describe your next chapter. One word.
Fun.
Me.
That's what you call drop the mic.
Yeah. You know what? You seem to be grading her higher on her answers.
All right, buckle up, because we are about to see even more of the Obamas. But I'd like to just say congratulations to Barack. After President Trump wraps up his second term, the only thing left from the Obama legacy is this really ugly, nightmarish, unimpressive building that doesn't look like it belongs anywhere any place. Anyway, the most divisive presidencies in American history. Here with reaction, Ohio gubernatorial candidate Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, I'm not an architect expert. I've seen great architecture. I think Donald Trump builds really cool buildings. I think he's got really good ideas. They have grandeur and magnificence. That is I don't even know. Is it North Korea? Is it the Middle East? Like, what is that building doing there? Why did they build that? That's the ugliest thing
Sean,
I've ever seen.
There's probably a lot of questions about the building. I think it's an important moment and an interesting moment to reflect on the legacy of Obama's presidency and what that building actually symbolizes. And it's interesting, right? Back in 2008, Ronald Reagan, actually Obama compared himself to the legacy of Ronald Reagan when he said Reagan was a president who changed the trajectory of the nation. And in a certain narrow sense, I think Obama and Reagan are both similar in that respect, that they did change the trajectory of the nation. Reagan changed the trajectory of the nation towards national ascent. Obama changed our national trajectory towards national decline. And in the end, if you look at the impact of his presidency, the American weakness, you think about Russia, North Korea, China, all stronger today than they were then, stronger after his presidency than they were right before. You look at the legacy of his signature act, named after him, Obamacare, has increased healthcare premiums to the point where that is the #1 issue, healthcare affordability, affecting Americans today. Doctors spend more time completing paperwork than they do seeing patients. Millions of individual health plans were eliminated, premiums doubled. That is Obama's legacy. Now, I like to call it like I see it, right? Call it fair. I mean, the one probably good thing he did was killing Osama bin Laden, and I think you could say a couple of important milestones here and there. But overall, in the end, his legacy is one of apologizing for American excellence, apologizing for American exceptionalism, apologizing for American history, apologizing for America's success. And I think that legacy of apologizing is something in the end that we rejected. And the ultimate product of his legacy was actually the election of Donald Trump, where a lot of people who voted for Obama twice, including in my home state of Ohio, said that we're done apologizing for who we are, and we ought to be proud of who we are as Americans, and there's no sin in that. To me, that's the summation of Obama's legacy, and say what you will about the building, I think it's an important moment for us to recognize that we don't have to apologize for this country on our 250th anniversary of our Declaration of Independence. We can celebrate it with conviction, lead the world, and believe that we're still going to lead that world with pride in the next 250 years. That's what I hope the country's direction is, as opposed to the direction of decline that he took us.
He claims he's now the coach of the Democratic Party. That means the coach of what? This guy that is campaigning with Hassan Piker, El Sayed, or Tellerico, or Graham Plattner, or Mamdani, or Bernie, or Pocahontas, or the Squad. You didn't build that. Is that now, you didn't earn that money, you don't deserve. What I've always admired about you, Vivek, is you celebrate success, you celebrate hard work, you celebrate freedom and self-actualization. You have lived it to the ultimate level. I'm not sure what this message is, that, you know, people are not successful based on their efforts in a free society, and they get demonized for it, and then they want to, you know, come in behind them and take their wealth away.
Look, this is Obama's legacy. The Democratic Party is in his shadow. It's a party of victimhood. It's a party that says someone else's success takes away from your ability to succeed. Where, in fact, America was built on the idea. What made America great is the idea that someone else's success in this country makes you more likely to succeed, too. Zero-sum economics, zero-sum vision of success. That's the ruin of this country. That's the socialist vision that's going to take us down. That's Obama's legacy. And I think there's a very different way to look at this, Sean. Reviving this idea of the American dream, that we believe in it, that if you work hard, you play by the rules, you get to have a good life, dream for an even better life for your kids, and we celebrate success instead of villainize it. Celebrate success instead of celebrating victimhood. And that's where I want to see the Republican Party continue to offer an alternative, positive vision. Okay, no matter your skin color, your race, where your parents came from, what your gender is, none of that matters. If you work hard, you can achieve the American dream. That unites us. And When Barack Obama came on the scene, he gestured towards that national unity. I think that's important. But he disappointed us in ultimately governing in a way that divided us, caused us to see one another as whether we were oppressed or not. You didn't build that mentality that rejects American entrepreneurialism, rejects the idea of self-reliance and creativity and originality that built this country. And I'm hoping we're able to turn the page on this chapter of victimhood and celebrate American success again, celebrate American greatness.
Well, let me tell you,
and that's where I think the country ought to go and is going to go in his wake.
You can start spreading the wealth around and start paying the contractors. Okay, it's not wouldn't be my design, but he chose it. They worked on it. They deserve to get paid, and they ought not have to fight for it. Pay them. Spread the wealth, Obama. All right, Vivek Ramaswamy, thank you. Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.